the Rebbe has a thing about the right over left, which was so strong that the Rebbe even said many times to people that had eights of a parnasa to change the buttons.
On the shirt?
No, jackets, capotes, coats, yeah.
No, burn crack you can find right over there.
But it's interesting, it has...
Any Schneider can do it, any Schneider.
Anyone could do it. They just have to be a Baal Melacha, that know what they're doing.
The clothing store next to Basic Knock, the advertising, the men's shirts, right over there.
Oh.
So, the emphasis is that there's one place in the Gemara that you see a very big cheshivas in this thing of right. And if you don't mind, give a look at Daf Mem Gimel Amud Beis. It's interesting that the Alter Rebbe writes how to do bekitzer. How do you do boide mina b'somim and boide moide eish by havdalah? So it changes. For the Gemara says it's Shulchan Aruch, says the Mishnah Berurah says Alter Rebbe Shulchan Aruch, Alter Rebbe says in the Siddur, the Alter Rebbe later changed the way. It's just interesting. Bottom line is the way that Rebbe used to do it is not the way it seems in the Gemara. But what you see from the Gemara is that there is a chashivus in the right, which api a nigla, api poshut, the pshat of right is chashivus, because that's the right hand is choshuv.
Dominant.
Right.
So you have to be mechabed dominance.
Right. M'shenke in api Kabbalah, it's an union of being in this world to be magbir the tzad yamin and tzad asmal.
What does the Bsomim and havdalah?
Oh, so what did the shaila is which hand you hold the Bsomim, which hand you hold the yain lakiddush, and which hand you hold the Bsomim. Let's learn it inside. Zog the Gemara. Just a few lines here, which has a shaykhas to our sugya. And this over here, just a few lines as shaykhas to our sugya. It's in the middle of the page. The first word is v'goimer, and then it's two dots. It says ton rabbonon. It's mamish smack in the middle of the page. It says v'goimer in the beginning of the line, and then there's two dots. Then it's ton rabbonon. You see it? Ton rabbonon. They brought to the person a shemen and a das. Shama says first the shemen and then the adas. Basil say reverse. First the adas. So shemen and Rashi says we're talking about boire shemen oriv, talking about the special oil from Eretz Yisrael, which Yericho was called reach because it had a good reach, because they used to have grows of trees of afar samoin. So Rashi says that's the type of shemen. We're talking about shemen afar samoin. So which comes first? The bracha, they're both a bracha of good smell. The shaila is boide shemen oriv or the bracha of boide atzib samim from adas. Shemen oriv or atzib, which comes first? So machlokes b'shem v'sil, which bracha goes first? Which is more choshev? It's adas or it's shem. This is also interesting because we'll mitzvah next week and the week after maybe, or not next week. Next week about the dasim in the Boide Min Bsomim. Amar Reb Gamliel, ani achri, I'm going to be machriya. Shemen zachinu l'reichev v'zachinu l'sichosei. I'm going to be machriya. Shemen has two miles in it, reach, and also shemen afarsaman. You rub it on your hands, and it's really good for your skin. So it has two miles in it. Hadas has only 1 mile. L'reichev zachinu l'sichosei l'zachinu.
Right, but at that moment it has only one.
Hadasim.
Yeah, but
what else can you do with hadasim? Oh, okay.
It is not tainug dashim, it's tainug gochni.
Right, but I'm saying that as cheshivas, he's trying to say since one has two functions, the other one has one.
But here,
physical. You enjoy physical.
Both functions have to do with the brocha.
Right. Taka b'shas that you have him as done, you're not allowed to make a bracha by him.
Right, exactly there, because I was hooked to the. Well, the truth is your shaila is a good shaila. Could be that's the pshat in Beis Hillel. We're just explaining das v'shamai. Could be that's the pshat hakem Beis Hillel. Beis Hillel is going to tell you that because hadas is something that the Eibusha chooses one of the dalad minim, he has a chashivus. Could be hagufa.
Yeah, and not only that, I mean, you could say other reasons. It could be it's chaviv. Maybe you like the smell on
No,
it?
if it's chaviv to the person,
they wouldn't disagree.
They wouldn't disagree.
Saying here it's equal?
Yeah, talking about a person that's equal. Because we have this big golden rule that we say that if it's more chaviv to you, then
And he is not talking about the tulip and he view the phone. It's not talking
no,
about
we're talking about adults. Stop. Yeah, emes. So that's the machlokes. So B'Shamai still argue, and Gamliel said, "Ani achri Hashem zachin l'reich v'shem zchasu." We have two miles in Shemen, and Nadas l'reich zachin zchasu l'zachin. We're zayich only to one thing. So therefore, I'm going to paskin like B'Shamai. Rabbi Yochanan Marsov divrei machloya. Whenever you have a machlokes and there's achro, the halacha is like divrei machriya. The Papa ikla leveirav huna brei revike. The Papa was in that house. I still come Hashem vadas. They brought Hashem vadas. The Papa took Baruch Hadas Bereisha v'Hoda Baruch Hashem. He took that das and then he made a bracha on the Shem.
Wait a second. How could he be machriya against Beis Hillel in the case of Beis Shammai?
Right. That's exactly. How could you be machriya l'chayra against Beis Hillel when it's a klal gadol?
Yeah.
So could be that we're talking about in the Zman before it was Paskin.
But wait a minute, wasn't Rabbi Gamliel like the Nasi or something?
Right. So he
So
was
maybe-
living very close to that Zman.
What?
Could be in the time of Rabbi Gamliel. It wasn't yet established that the Mahalocha must be like Beis Hillel.
Oh, but I mean, when Rabbi Yochanan says halacha k'divrei machriya, that's like a rule? Or
Yeah,
he's just saying over here?
He's applying the rule
A
here.
rule,
He's
okay.
applying the rule here. So let's continue. The Papa ikla v'rei huna v'rei Eis l'kam Hashem v'das. B'or Hashem v'das. Shokler Papa Baruch Adas v'reish. He did like Beis Hillel. First the Adas, v'od the Baruch Hashem, and then the Shemen. Amar Leila Sofel Amar Alochi v'Machriya. You don't hold that the Aloch is always like the Machriya. Amar Leila Hacham Rav. This is what Rav said. Alochi Beis Hillel. Aloch is like Beis Hillel. So the Gemara says v'lohi. That's not true. Rav never said such a thing. He just wanted to. He was embarrassed that he was caught like doing the wrong thing. So therefore, he made up above a Maisa.
That Rav said halacha Beis Hillel.
Yeah. So a lot of Rishonim take out. Right, I know. So that's why a lot of Rishonim take it out. They say that it's inconceivable that never happened. It couldn't happen. It didn't happen. It's impossible.
Right,
It's Mefurish in this
why?
week's Sparks.
Right, why
It's Mefurish
couldn't-
in this week's Sparks.
That what?
That the Rebbe wrote a letter to what's his name from the Talmudic Encyclopedia Talmudic Levin
Oh, Zevin.
that there can't be any stories Hasidic Shemaises that go against halacha. Like the case with the kever, there was a man who dreamt that his father was begging him to take the galach away from him because he's trying to convert him. So in the story, they went and they dug up the kever. The tzaddik went to a tzaddik. Tzaddik told him to dig up the kever, and they found inside the kever a tzalim. So the Rebbe says that can't happen, couldn't have happened, because it's also to dig up someone's kever. So the Elamai, they went to the side. It was on the side. They dug up the side, and they found a coin that had a tzalim on it. That's the. So the Rebbe said, so also here, the story can't possibly go against halacha.
Right. That's what the
If Rav
Rishonim
Zeman can't, the Gemara can't.
So most of the Rishonim take out this Velohi.
Wait,
Most of the
I
Rishonim
don't
don't go
understand.
into
Why is it against halacha?
Because he lied. He's saying that he lied.
That he lied. It's not from the things that you're allowed to lie about.
So wait, look.
He was going to be embarrassed. He was caught doing the wrong
wait,
thing.
Wait a minute. How do we know that Rav didn't say halacha Beis Hillel?
That's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says Velohi. It's not true. Rava never said it.
Look at Rashi.
Lo Yom Rava. Right.
That's the Mother Nasho David.
He was
He made a
mistake.
So what are you saying? Who said we should take it out?
So a lot of Rishonim, the Rif doesn't have the
They
case.
took out the whole thing. Why? Because
They don't think it's
they don't
possible
think
that such a thing ever happened.
That we haste it's not that Rav Papa
Would say such a thing.
Would do such a thing.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's why, for example, look at the side.
Pasnish.
Right, it's a pasnish. Look at Agos Agrov. Lo hi l'shtamut nafshe de'ovid nimchak. Erase it. That's it. Harif lo goras. The Rif was not goras. That's it. It was a very strong lotion. Nimchak. It's impossible.
What's the near B? That's the Nun Beis?
No.
Near a bang now.
Yeah, could
I'm
be.
just guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Venera period.
Yeah, period, and then Arif Lagoris.
It's interesting that the Gemara brings his Gersa before the Rif. You know, that's like, you know, they said that Aminu HaGrov held that he was like a Rishon.
Right.
That he
It was,
agreed
yeah.
right away with Rishonim.
Right.
You see it.
Right. Even though he wouldn't Chas v'Shalom put his hand into the Gemara, but he felt like so strongly about it. It's like, wow.
Right.
Nimchak. You got to erase it, because the truth is, it's like it's this strangest story you've ever heard. That a Papa was embarrassed. A big deal. You did. So you got the halacha wrong. So what's the big deal?
Right, by such a thing, by the Chazal, we wouldn't have such a thing.
Right.
So why did the Gevilna Shas print it?
No, because we don't want to put our hands into Sfonim. We never. That was the gist. That was so.
Something not right about the story.
It's like funny story.
Yeah.
The Ben Yehoyada says
David Cohen has shot a whole thing on the top, all of Shas, and our school always quotes him and says, and they say this is left out because of David Cohen's Gersa. He takes things out.
this is like a funny story. How could you say such a thing? The Ben Yehoyada says, look, there was a Amaratzim and Tamidacham at the table. So the Amaratzim, they're not listening. Or say, ooh, wow, you passed. So he said something, and after the Amaratzim left, he corrected himself. But that's a strange pshat. But what some of the Mefarshim say an interesting point, and that is a very interesting point, which is that Rabbi Gamliel was never machriya here. Machriya means like this: one person says chesed, the other one says gevura. Tiferes is machriya. He says, you know what? Let's be kind. He doesn't deserve it, but let's be, This is not machriya. Rabbi Gamliel just explained the shit to B'Shamai. He went B'Shamai. He didn't make a hachra here.
He said ani achriya. You mean
Right.
that also should be missing?
So it's not real hachra. He said,
Shaman Zachi, you have 2 points.
there's two, when you say achra, there's can be two things achra. Achra means you could tip the scale. Machriya, it's like you put a couple more mitzvahs or avedas on one side, and you tip the scale. You machriya machriya lekav schus lekav choyla. That's, and then there's machriya, which is yovei ashlishi v'achriya beinayim. There's two types of machriya. Machriya could mean, and the third one makes sholem.
Right. It explains the apparent contradiction.
Here, you just want to know which bracha make first.
He's not paskening. He's saying ani achriya. I'm tilting it this way, but lavdafkis, because normally when an Amora or a Tana comes and he says halach l'kid beishamai, or he says, they don't say ani achriya. It's like mashal like a noshon.
You're saying another point. I was saying the word is that usually the klal of machriya is because he's better than both of them. He could put them both together. It's like Chassidus says Oisha Sholem B'Maraimov, that the koyach to put chesed and vuruk together is teferes because he's higher than both put together. Rabbi Gamliel didn't make a hachra here. He just flat out went with Beishamai. He explained the shita of Beishamai and he went with Beishamai. You're saying something else. Achni achri kilu. You're saying that wasn't that.
It's just my personal
feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And maybe he didn't even pass in that way. You say, Ani achriya, I'm going to be machriya, that is besvara, he was right.
He didn't want to say, maybe because it's only Beis Shammai and not Beis Hillel, so he was saying, like,
I'll be machriya mesvara. I'll be machriya mesvara.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't want to pass in this.
Well, not that he even did it.
Right. The poil tak in Shulchan Aruch pass is like Beis Hillel. The Shulchan Aruch tak pass is like Beis Hillel.
That if you have Shemin, why?
Shemin or Hadas.
Why is Hadas first?
Because Hadas is always first. And some Achroinim said, you're svara from before. I think it was the Toys was Yom Tov, and on the Rosh says, Adana Yom Tov, because it's from the Dalal Minim. The Dalal Minim.
So that's his second mile, and the other one has second mile, so it goes higher.
Right.
Because its mile is more.
Because,
it's used in a mitzvah.
It's used in a mitzvah. So it's not only 2 miles, it's a.
Right.
Someone says it, maybe the Adana Yom Tov says it.
You can also say Tadr, it's also Tadr. Like, I mean, I don't know what they do.
You can't not have it. Once a year, you have to pick up
people
a.
selling, mostly in Borough Park, but when they sell flowers in Borough Park, all the flower sellers have standalone Hadas.
So that's the latest thing.
Yeah.
Years ago, I don't think it was that way.
Well, I remember when I was a Bacher in Eretz
No, it's Yisrael.
25 years ago.
America.
Yeah.
But why do you mean
30 years ago.
Tadr is only by mitzvahs? I don't know what you say.
Right,
What I'm
Tadr
saying is
shows.
that people don't
There is
aren't
Tadr.
sach from this shemen. It's not as common as the Hadassim, which are grown all over Eretz Yisrael.
And also, the minig used to be in the Chachmei Hashas. that every special occasion they used to, even up to a few hundred years ago, like if you look at the Seder Pidyon Haben, the Kohen makes a bracha on the Adasim, by even Mila, by Sheva brachas, by every special occasion,
what's this?
they used to make a bracha on Adasim.
What Ashkenazim or Sephardim?
If you go only a few hundred, like the Radvaz, the other day I was leading a Seder Pidyon Haben. V'akoyim avarach al Adasim, baruch Hashem lachelem, Atzi Bsomim. It's in the regular Seder of how you do Pidyon Haben. The Radvaz, how many years ago was that? 400 years ago in Egypt? It was like common practice to bring Adasim for special occasions. It was like,
Friday night you have to have Adasim on the table.
That's not good.
Now you see people that they attack it. You said that it's all that
It smells geschmack.
No, there's any to put on the table Adasim on Friday
Oh,
night.
nothing to do with Mea Brachos to make a bracha.
Well, that's what you had with Rashbi.
Right, Rashbi, he was running with two bunches. Right.
Because you see, it had something to do with Shabbos.
Right, that's the Gemara.
But I was once by a wedding. The guy was a Sephardi, Turkish, and so under the chuppah they make bar mina b'samim.
And it wasn't on it was minipsum and wasn't on Adasim, but it
So that I can't tell you. Maybe it was flour was the son, but they made a bracha on psalmim. I don't know what it was, but I saw they made a bracha on psalmim.
Because it seems from the Gemara, a lot of it at the end of the meal they would bring
Shemen to clean the hand, right? We learn about it. This to
shemen to and Adasim was a common thing to bring at Chusud.
The same thing like people after the meal like to smoke.
Yeah.
So maybe we lost it because in our countries we didn't have all these things.
Right.
But in the tropical countries they had it.
Right, exactly.
So maybe it was a part of.
It's similar like we're going to have soon in the Gemara in our Pedic where we're holding that was a chiyuv to bring at the end Bsomim was a chiyuv at the end of the meal. At the end, we don't have to. It was a shem, that special shemen that smells good. It was a chiyuv before you do birchas hamazon. It was a chiyuv to put a little of that shemen and rub your hands. And the Shulchan Aruch says, "How come we're not mechuyev?" So the Shulchan Aruch says only those countries that had the oil available and it was common practice. So mitzad the chshivas of the bracha, but we don't do it anyway. So it's not like similar to aseva. To those people that aseva to them is a big deal, they're mechuyev to eat the whole meal naseba. We don't do the whole meal naseba, but symbolic we do it by the arba koises. Okay. Weiter in the Gemara. Tana Rabban. Second machlokes. Hevi lifneim shemen v'yain. This is where I want to go. Hevi lifneim shemen v'yain. They brought shemen v'yain. Shama emrim eichas Hashem b'yamina v'zayin b'smoiloi. He picks up the shemen in his right hand and the wine in his left hand.
For what? What's the
Havdalah, we're talking about Havdalah.
No, not lavdafka havdalah.
No.
Any time, that's what I'm telling you. That look in the Rashi. Shama v'yain. Zo yain lacher amazon. Vein za kosher bracha. We're not talking about kosher bracha here. At the end of the meal, the next Rashi. Choyzim v'varach yain kohen b'choil. She'ena yain keva. Ve'ena yain shlifna amazon poitroi. They used to finish the meal. They used to take away the little tables. They used to walk away with the little tables, and then they used to bring wine. Now, the Boide Priyagofen that you made in the middle of the meal is not going to part of this wine. Because it's
Dessert wine.
Yeah, it's dessert wine, a different cheshire. Like, we spoke about it when we learned those halachas. We don't have such a thing as siluk asrulcham b'zman hazeh. In those days, they at the end of the meal they take away the table, and after that you cannot allowed to eat any food without a bracha. I don't care if it's chicken.
That's showing that you finished the meal.
Show to finish the meal.
Like my machloini. Once you do my
Yeah,
that's it.
it's over. Right.
But this is not my machloini because you can still eat.
You could still eat, right? You can still eat, but you have to make a bracha rishona. You're allowed to. You have to make a bracha rishona. So that's what's going on over here. They took away the tables.
They brought the wine and the shemen.
They brought the wine and shemen. Shaila is which one goes first. So Bishamai says shemen goes first here. Bishamai said that before Teh. Shemen goes first, and Yayin goes second. Therefore, mevarach al shemen v'chezon mevarach al yayin. Therefore,
is more choshev than shemen.
No, Bishamai says you said it right. Bishamai says shemen is more choshev. And Bishamai, it's interesting. So the main line that all the Rishonim take from here, and the Tur brings in Siman Reish Vav and Shulchan Aruch, that the Beishamai says that Oiches Hashem b'minoi, because that's the first thing that you're going to make a bracha. You have to hold it in your right hand. As a raya, and any time you make a bracha, by the Priyagofen, havdalah, to make in the right hand. Very good, exactly. And Beishamai in the go weiter, B'silul Oimrim, Oiches Hayayim b'minoi, you hold the wine on the right hand. V'Hashem b'smoiloi, Mevarach Alayim, V'Chizim Mevarach Al Hashem. That you make a bracha on the yain, and then you make a bracha on the shemen. So one thing Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel all agree: whatever you're making the bracha first, that has to be in your right hand. The only shaila between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel is which one is first. Beis Shammai says shemen is first, and Beis Hillel says yain is first.
So you're saying that when you finish making on the bracha on the first thing, you should transfer to your right hand the second thing?
Yes.
It
Yes.
doesn't say it.
He doesn't say it,
Yeah.
and the Meiri doesn't say it, and Misiri says otherwise. But the Tur says it, and that's what's Paskin and Shulchan Aruch, and that's what brings us
Bracha, right hand.
to very confusing. Tomorrow we'll learn Shulchan Aruch. What are you supposed to do by havdalah? The way it says in Shulchan Aruch, and the way the Alter Rebbe says Shulchan Aruch, and then the way the Alter Rebbe says in the Siddur, and the way he changed it in the Siddur. So
You put the
Why
wine.
why
You
does
put the
it?
wine down. Then you take the Bsomim in the right hand to make it.
No, that's not how you do it. You
The Shulchan
never
Aruch
put
says-
the yain down.
the Shulchan Aruch says never put the dayan down.
How do you make Bsomim?
In your right hand,
You change hands, you switch hands,
Well, you just take the wine and put it in the left.
Yeah.
like Beis Shammai Zil just said. Like Beis Shammai Zil just said. You
It's
switch.
less of a hefsek.
But you took something kosher from your right hand and you move it to your
Right. Well, it's better than putting it down on the table, isn't it?
That's what the Shulchan Aruch Paskins you have to do. So that's why I said last week, I looked in the video, I think that was not what the Rebbe did.
Because the Rebbe had a very big Bsomim, you needed two hands.
Do you think that's the pshat?
You saw that. The Rebbe,
The Rebbe took it with two hands.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the Rebbe used to pick up first the Rebbe picked it up with his right hand, and he wouldn't pick it up unless he picked up a napkin. He'd pick up a napkin, a cloth napkin, and he'd pick up with his right hand. I'm going to use my left because that's my right hand. He'd pick it up with his right hand with the napkin. He never picked it up without the napkin
for whatever reason.
for cleanliness, I think. And
The Bsomim or the...
Oh, because his
his
hand
hand was
was
full
wet.
of wet, yeah. And then it was like an
Bsomim?
instance maybe.
Yeah.
So he picked up he would pick up a shmata from the
napkin.
table,
Yeah.
pick up with
The
the
Bsomim?
right hand, and then with the left hand he would like pick up the box and he'd put it like this by his nose. So could be right, could be pashut because he needed to use both hands. But I'm telling you, I looked at a few videos of the Rebbe's thing.
So you do put the cup
He'd
on.
put the cup down, he'd use both hands to pick up the Bsomim, and he'd use both hands, not like his brother Shulchan Aruch to use one hand. He would for the Eish. Now, the way it's brought in Shulchan Aruch to do is
You
that,
keep
the Tur says
pick up the cup by your and then put it down and do it?
no, that you pick it up in your right hand. Boide priya gofen.
Yeah.
Then you
Switch
put it in
it.
the left hand,
Right.
and now the Bsomim in your right hand.
Right.
Boide mine Bsomim.
Right.
Boide miode Eish.
What about
No, I think you're supposed to have the wine in your
right
hand when you.
Oh, I'm sorry. You put it back.
Back.
Yeah, that's
You
it.
put it back.
Back. Then burn the Bsomim.
No.
No. Boide mine Bsomim. You're holding
your hand. This cup is in your left hand.
your left. And then by Boide Moide Eish, it's not so clear. The Alter Rebbe says could be that you're supposed to really put back your
To your right hand?
to right hand, and then
You look at the thing. You put it. Switch it back again.
yeah. It could be not. This is what I want to tell you, that this is like very confusing between the Shulchan Aruch and then the Siddur. However, Lamaisa, how the Rebbe did it was that the Rebbe would say Boide Priya Gofen, put it down.
So
Then he would say Boide Min Bsomim, he'd pick up with two hands the Bsomim back. He'd say Boide Min Eish and do it with both hands.
and the cup is on the floor on the table.
Yeah, and then he'd pick up the cup again.
To the right hand.
Yeah, which is l'chayra not the way. You see how Bishama Beis Hillel, the machlokes is which goes first, the shemen or the hadas. But either way, both agree that one isn't. You're switching hands,
You have to
but
put
they're
the
both.
right hand.
And so why does the Rebbe put it down on the table? So I think the Pashup Shat is like this, very balabatish. What did we say? What's talking about over here? What did Rashi say? Why do you have to say a bracha on the wine? It's after the meal. You already made Boide Priya Gofen. Why? Because they already took away the tables. So siluk shulchanos.
So it's a no bracha.
So therefore you have to make Boide Priya Gofen. Yeah. So if they took away the tables, tell me where you're supposed to put the kos of yain in your pocket.
You're holding it.
Huh?
You're holding it.
That's why you're holding it. But they never had a table there. So that's why you put it down on the table.
Oh.
When Beis Shammai Beis Hillel, when they said that you should switch it into your other hand, they didn't mean apidin. Yeah, when you make Boide Priya Gofen, you're supposed to have the kois in the right hand. You make Boide Min Bsomim, make it with your right hand. You make Boide Min Eish with your right hand. You want also your left hand, also your left hand, but your right hand. Every mitzvah you do with the right hand. I, Besham and Beisel both are saying that the other thing is in the left hand, because where are you supposed to put it?
But that's not in the Gemara, so that's why the Shulchan Aruch says that even if you have a table, you switch ends.
Emes.
So
I'm just saying limud schus. I'm saying lepoil. It seems that the Rebbe didn't think that this was essential. And Shulchan Aruch, it sounds that that's the way you're supposed to do it. Shulchan Aruch says that you keep on switching hands, but you keep on holding. You don't put the kois down on the shulchan, because that's the way it sounds from Misham and Basil.
Right.
That you're switching hands, when you never put it down.
I can say another story what the Rebbe did.
Why?
Because you're not supposed to have something. You're not supposed to be doing anything. You make a bracha on something. So if you're making a bracha on the eish, could be because for the Rebbe it was a challenge to keep the cup in his hand, not spilling in this. It could have been a distraction.
Oh.
So really, if you want to bring a ride from the Rebbe's Hanhagas, maybe what he did when he was in his 40s or 50s. I'm saying when he was older, the Rebbe should.
So we have to look at the and ask people that were around.
Right.
In the early
I'm
years.
just saying Efsher. And maybe not because of the Gemara, but because
then I have to ask.
Because for the Rebbe, then it became a different halacha that you're not have to anything that takes away. Like you're not going to hold the child in Shemon Esrei or during davening because it takes away from you.
Or maybe you have to look if they could find how did Dariya Kaddish do it. If he did different from Shulchan Aruch.
And the Rebbe never yawned in
like
public. The Rebbe never yawned in public.
Just a guess.
No, I'm saying that the Rebbe had. The Rebbe went. I don't know whatever the Rebbe's correct is not for me to say, but I'm just saying the Rebbe never did anything that showed like even teva. So maybe like if the Rebbe's close is shaky, it could be that it's like maybe a shtickle pekam in kavod hamelech. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't know.
Did
anything change from original years? Yeah. So here it's interesting that in the original Siddur, the Alter Rebbe, it says differently. In the original Siddur, they just think that they found the original print of the Siddur. That was like
they think they're not sure.
Yeah, because they think they say it's mamash kamat.
It's Ksav Yad of the Alter Rebbe.
No, the Alter Rebbe had it printed b'chayav.
Oh,
so but the thing is that it's interesting that there was a few things that the Rebbe's father writes that he wrote it up after he sent it to the printers, but the printers already had printed the Siddur.
Wow!
So they just put it in as 2 pages in the back. So, and that's why we in our Siddur have a little by havdalah like this. Over here, it says no instructions before havdalah, and just right before Boida Moda Eish, it says look at the 4 fingers and not the goydel. But in our Siddur, we have that it says like this. A whole Torah it says here. B'shaz birchas Boida min Bsomim. When you make tzorich lechas hakois b'smoiloi v'b'somim b'yaminoi.
That's what it says.
Right? Right. B'shaz birchas Boida Moda Eish. Tzorich lechas hakois b'yaminoi v'achkach yabed b'tzaparnayim. Like you were saying.
That's what it says over here.
Right. That's what it says here also. But Lepoil, that's not what the Rebbe did. That's not what the Rebbe did. That's not what the Rebbe did. The Rebbe put it down on the table, side by Boida Moda Eish and side by Boida Min Bsomim. So, okay, could be a saying it's Nishkenaya from the Rebbe because there was other reasons. But I thought maybe Balabata Shesvora, that when the Ikar between Bisham and Basil is that when you do a mitzvah, the mitzvah has to be in your right hand. Boida B'nei Gofen, the one has to be in the right hand. Boida Min Bsomim, Bsomim has to be in your right hand. Boida Moda Eish, look at your right hand. You want to hold your left hand? Fine, but your right hand. Whenever you do a mitzvah, the mitzvah has to be done with the right hand. It's the kavod mitzvah. But the fact that you're holding the other thing in the left hand is balabatish. They took away the table. Where are you supposed to put it? You can put it in your pocket. Where are you going to put it? So therefore you're holding in the other hand. But that's not what Bisham and Basil. It's not like, you have to hold the other thing in the left hand. That's not the ikir.
Then it's the bracha.
How do we know that they didn't have a table? When Masalik the shulchan, maybe that was the eating table,
and maybe there was some big shulchan
maybe
left.
There was a dessert table. Because how did you have all these things? You need wine, you need a kais, and you need this shemen. Where were you supposed to have kept it?
That's what he's holding in the right hand, the left hand.
And then Mr. You're supposed to also down from the sitter when you bench. I mean,
someone else is holding the siddur.
Yeah, but it's like
those days didn't have siddur. The emissaries they didn't have siddur. People, that's why they had a shlich tzibur because
Right,
You
but
know,
I'm saying you don't think that like
It's Pesach with the Agoda in
But
the Kiara.
I'll say, why shouldn't they have it? I understand what you're saying.
why did people
Of
have
course they had
Siddurim
a
in those days?
table.
They found
Yeah, they
Siddurim.
did.
I mean,
They had
why
Shulchan
wouldn't they have
Aruch
a
take them
table?
away.
They found Siddurim in the
Why wouldn't
Choram
they have
caves.
a table?
Yeah.
They have it in the Israel Museum.
And they have
Siddurim
Siddurim.
from before the Chorban Bayis Sheni.
Yeah.
They had Siddurim.
So I don't know. But to me, it sounds very simple. The Chachmei Ashas, always the Tosfos says, like everything, that they had little tables,
Right.
and at the end of the meal they would move away the old
Right,
tables,
right. But I mean, so maybe a little thing, a little stand for the one. Epis, something.
like in the base of Menachem Mendel. Yeah, I mean in the library in the Heichel of Hashem,
Yeah.
the cute,
Right,
you
the
know,
Baal Shem Tov's desk.
yeah. I don't know. This is sort of
We Misalke in Pesach, and Misalke in Takeao.
Right.
We need Misalke. If there's no table, we
But these
no. They used to be
instructions,
masalik the table. That's what the Tosfos says. The masalik and computer they take the tables and move
Right.
the table masalik.
these instructions in Shulchan Aruch, like we say, we didn't see it in the Gemara. So it's the Mechaber or what?
The Tur came up with this. The Tur was a Rishon, right?
Right,
He disagrees.
right,
He says,
yeah.
but the Tur says, and we pass in that way, that we see the common denominator between Bisham and B'Silov
Yes,
is
the
that a
right
mitzvah
hand,
is in
yeah.
the rechte hand. A
Right,
mitzvah is always in your right hand.
Right.
But the way the Tur formulates it
Yeah.
is that the mitzvah is going to be in your right hand, and the other item will be in your left hand.
Yeah.
So you switch the yayin and the Bsomim. You keep on switching musical chairs.
Now I'm saying maybe there was some other in the other postscript, there's another way, like putting down. Maybe the Rebbe found
I didn't
another,
find, and the Weil I didn't find. Between tonight and tomorrow, I'll look. Ich weiß nicht. So I'll look at it between tonight and tomorrow. This is the Weil looking at the Gemara. This is my svara.
So, Boyer Peragofne, put the cup down, you take the Bsomim, bury the Bsomim, you
He's
put
not
it
saying
down.
that's what you're supposed
I'm not
to do.
saying it was
Put the
supposed to do.
cup-
I said that's what the Rebbe did, and I'm saying maybe a svara that even though the Shulchan Aruch says, and later in the Alter Rebbe Siddur he says clearly, right? He says b'shas b'yichas b'yidim in Bsomim tzarich lechaz hakois b'smoiloi v'ab'somim b'yiminoi, right? So even
says not to make a lot.
it doesn't say anything. I looked at that. That's an easy one. I looked at the Sefer Menachos. I didn't said nothing.
The only thing we have is these two lines and the center over here.
Right. So, but I know I looked at a few of the videos, and they're all the same thing. That Rebbe puts down the Kodesh Shel Yain. He says Boidim in Bsomim. He picks up with both hands the Bsomim. And it says Boidim in Eish and uses both hands for that. But the case is still on the table. He
When
puts the
Silver
case down.
She doesn't pick up the cup.
No,
What do we do?
Yeah.
I don't know what we do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
Oh, no, we don't?
We do.
It doesn't
the
say
truth
what?
is-
It doesn't say?
The truth is, I
No, I'm
personally-
saying, does it say anywhere?
No, it says, yeah, it says. Look, the Alter Rebbe said it. It says, B'shas, according to the correction of the Alter Rebbe said it. B'shas birchas boidim in B'somim, tzarech lechaz hakois b'smoil v'ab'somim b'yiminoi. U'b'sach birchas boidim in Eish, tzarech lechaz hakois b'yiminoi.
Minute.
And then, v'achkach yabit b'tzipornayim.
What is that?
That means you are doing music.
Yeah,
Yes.
but Lepol the Rebbe didn't do it.
Right.
So I'm just telling you how it was. The bottom line is just to be masakim the sugya. So according to the Gemara, Beisham and Beis the Tur says that the common denominator is that the mitzvah I always do b'yamin, and that from this we learn everything. Everything is learned from this one line in the Gemara.
Even
That
when you
every
pour-
mitzvah,
Even when you pour something to the cup, you pour with the right hand.
everything is b'yamin. Why? Because of kovet. But the api Kabbalah, it's not just because of kovet. Because in the world there's powers of yamin and there's powers of small. And we have to overpower yamin and small. What's the nafkamina between the two reasons? A huge nafkamina. It's nafkamina for me. I'm a lefty. So when it comes to doing a mitzvah, to do it with my left hand because that's my right hand. But when it comes to a jacket, I still have to go to the cleaners and
Right.
change the jacket.
Right over left.
I still have to go to to change the jacket.
It's not
Why?
to do with what
Because it's
you
not to do with me.
It's
It's
to
to
do
do the
with the right,
koiches
not
in
the
the welt of right over left. That we're
You
machaber.
should put up a sign in your store. Yid Rachman Yiddish Geld. Put you right over your left.
Right. It's good
No,
for
the
you.
people- The people put the button inside.
Yeah, show them.
That's the way.
Show them it's very simple.
Tell them it's as good as this gula of putting
And I
wine in
don't
the
do
pot on your clothing.
All my clothes I have left over right.
Ivy.
No, you have to
Never
put this a of a parnosa. The Rebbe said many times a school of a parnosa.
Yeah.
To put what? Right over
To
left.
put
Always
the right
right
over the
over
left.
never do
In
that.
other words, you have to have your button on your
Yeah.
left side.
Like this.
Or,
jacket and the
there's
coat.
another way to do it.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
Harav said, you can have a button inside the right.
Do that too.
But that's a woman's levush.
Right, but that's a chassidish levush also. It's not a
The
woman's.
women, still share women's.
Okay, good. The Eivishal Half, and we should be able to be magbid the yamin on the smile.
Amen.